Good morning, friends. Welcome back. Another exciting day in Empires and Puzzles brings us a new portal, and this is actually going to be my second attempt at recording this video today for the new released character, mostly because the first video that I recorded, I don't think I really assessed this guy correctly. So we do have a new character, Yong, that is going to be available to us. I do enjoy this portal quite a bit. These outlaw characters have been fantastic. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this guy has to offer. First things first, we do have the wizard class, which is a little bit unusual. Most of the characters released from this portal thus far have been more of the melee class style. So it's interesting to see a wizard offered. A reminder of what our family bonus is going to offer us. We have bonus for 1, 2, or 3 heroes, and it's going to give you plus 50, plus 60, plus 70% chance to crit. So that's very interesting. I do enjoy that. The extra damage they get from these crits is absolutely fantastic, so no complaints there. Down in our passives department, we have Cleanse on critical special attack. When this character scores a critical hit with their special skill, they safely cleanse the target. They safely cleanse the latest cleansable status ailment from all allies. So it is pretty cool. When he crits with his special, he is going to at least cleanse one debuff from all allies, the most recent one at that. Then we also have Righteous Rebellion. So Righteous Rebellion is simply a passive that they created that gives you plus 20% boosted health and 20% mana as long as the target you are hitting has more health than this character currently. So that's a fun way to go. It encourages you to attack stronger opponents. And this abilities can only activate once per turn. Then we also have Resist Bleed. They are just immune to bleed effects, which is also quite helpful. Now, in the Aether Power department, this guy was given Ailment Immunity. Ailment Immunity is one of the most sought after abilities that you can get. For the first 6 turns, this guy is just going to be immune to all effects, which is going to be super helpful. Well, I shouldn't say all effects, all negative effects. You can still buff him, but any ailments he will be immune from. All right, down here in the specials department, operating at slow speed, we have Clever Stratagem. Now, I will point out this is slow, which automatically makes me a little bit less excited. Slow speed specials require quite a bit of oomph to them in order to stay relevant with some of the faster speed options out there. So let's take a look at what this guy has. First up, his special skill has a chance to deal critical hits. They all have that, so that's no surprise there. He is going to be dealing 450% damage to the target. So he is a sniper hit to begin with. It will steal 20% mana from the target and distribute it on all allies. Then it says, if the target had more than 30% mana after mana stealing, the special skill repeats targeting a random enemy. The damage is reduced for each consecutive hit, and each enemy can only be hit once. All enemies get plus 50, all allies get plus 55% critical chance for 5 turns. So, let's get into it. What is this guy good for? Where are some of his cons? All of that fun stuff. First of all, we'll start out with the cons. In a negative way, this guy is slow, right? So, he's a slow sniper, but he's a sniper that could possibly hit more. It's a reasonable hit at 450% damage, but really at slow speed, I almost would have liked that to be a little bit higher. He steals 20% mana from the target and distributes it to allies. That can be helpful. And especially more so on attack teams, because the next part of his special required the target to have 30% mana, and then it will choose another target, right? So on attack, you can certainly select a target that has 30% mana and ensure that this special hits at least twice. But defensively, you have no control over what the AI is going to choose to do with this character, and that's where it makes things a little bit more challenging to get value out of him. I don't think this guy's necessarily going to be the greatest defensive character in most situations, but let's get into this a little bit more. All right, so you are going to take some of that mana, and that's good, especially if this guy can hit multiple targets. And then all allies do get plus 55% critical for 5 turns. So what do I like about this guy? First of all, we talked about some of the negatives, that he's slow. On defense, he may only hit 1 target. On offense, it's possible he only hits 2. But if you're lucky, and let's say your entire enemy force is above 30% mana, which is not impossible. It's not great, but it's not impossible, right? So you're then going to end up taking quite a bit of mana from the opposing side. You're going to reduce their mana by 20% for each character. You're going to increase your characters by that amount of mana. Now, it doesn't say exactly how it distributes it, but regardless, it is a nice mana swing. So I think that's the point of this guy, is he's designed to affect the entire board state, to put them further behind, to push you further up. You would want to cast this guy first, right? And hopefully he then powers up several of your other character specials. And when he casts his special, he is going to also put that 55% critical chance up for 5 turns. So that's going to give all of your other outlaws, if you're stacked with other outlaws, over 100% chance to crit, which is pretty awesome. But also, if you have other characters, it does help them a bit as well. So very interesting that this guy is designed to sort of push that through. In theory, after he goes off, if he can power up at least 3 of your other characters with him, that's going to be a lot of special damage that you're able to create in one turn. And I think that's where this guy shines, is he's designed to create that board swing that really pushes your team past the point that they're going to be able to recover from. And I do think he serves a certain purpose in being able to do that. But obviously, it's much easier to accomplish when you're able to choose your targets and when to fire the special, etc. On defense, I think it's very challenging to expect this guy to function as intended. The one part where I might say he has a better chance of being useful is like in perhaps rush format defense. Like he could be a tank in a rush defense team where it's likely that they'll have mana up and most likely have to trigger him as the tank fairly quickly. You could really slow down their rush progression while pushing your own rush people up, if that makes sense, in faster firings from the mana you stole from them. So, like, I see him as being a useful counter in that way, but probably only in rush format, because I think you're taking too much of a gamble or a swing on this guy operating at slow speed to have him be your normal tank, because like in any other format other than rush, if he doesn't activate perfectly, he was a detriment to your team. Now, if he does function correctly, he could be very, very helpful. But I think I would only want to take that swing or that risk in a rush format, and definitely not in a regular one. So hopefully that helps make a little bit of sense. It is confusing how this guy was intended to function, and I don't know if I love him. So, like, if we're giving him a rating, I'm going to rate him at an 8, only because I think if you function or use this guy the way he is intended and you can get him to function that way to swing the board state, he's a game ender. Like his special can literally be a fight ending ability, which is what you want out of a slow skill, but at the same time, you need the right alignment of things to happen for that to work. So because he has such an asterisk to being effective, I'm not going to put him any higher than an 8 because I think there's at least a 40% chance that this guy will not function as intended when his special goes off. And that's not great. So yeah, I mean, there you go. We'll give him the 8 out of 10. I do think he'd be a very fun Rush War tank. Rush Wars in general on offense, he's also going to be a lot of fun. But like, I don't know if I would choose to take this guy in most other formats if I had better options available to me. All right, guys, thanks for joining in. We will catch you next time and see you then.